Hi, my name is Vasil Petros. Chose the subject investigating the relationship between childhood trauma and homelessness in Atlanta, Georgia. If you ask me why I chose the subject, is because I am involved in homeless ministry since 2012, and I hear a lot of stories, and we pray for the people. And lead them to Christ, feed them, clothe them. Um, I get to hear a lot of stories. So that's actually the reason behind that I'm taking psychology, trying to give back to the community of homeless people. Let's go and start. What's childhood trauma? Childhood trauma, according to the professionals, is it's a frightening, harmful, violent, or life-threatening incident. Happens between ages of 0 to 12, and there is variations or types in different types of traumas. Some of them are like abuse. It could be physical, sexual, or psychological, or seeing some danger or violence directed to loved ones, neglect or loss of loved ones. So these kind of trauma intense, they can be intense, and then they can include fear or helplessness, and might influence cognitive, social or emotional growth. Of course, every tragedy is not an equal traumatic wise. It could be different for different kids. Homelessness, according to United States Social Security Administration, is defined as someone lacking a permanent habitation. For example, is someone who's sleeping in a park, bus terminal, shelter, or doorways, or staying with friends, or in transit, is called homelessness. There are types of traumatic events of childhood, like I mentioned, some of them earlier. It could be, parental separation or divorce or household substance abuse, incarcerated household members, mothers or kids, their siblings uh, treated violently. So now in general or more scope, based on these kind of effects, children, they could experience, or their experiences could be qualified as traumatic. Uh, for these adverse childhood experiences, we raise a person's risk of later becoming a chronic health illness or mental health problems, or it could face social economic challenges. Well, when we try to connect childhood trauma to homelessness, I would see that the hypothesis would be early trauma greatly raises a person's chance of being homeless later on in life. Some of the influential elements, children that go through trauma could find it difficult to keep steady relationships, schooling, or things that they go through in adulthood. The adverse childhood experiences can last long. They can end up having effect on physical or mental health, and they can bring an adult being risk of homelessness. The cycle of trauma and homelessness, a kid can cause social and financial unrest that increases in adolescence, and then an adult can risk to become homeless. Well, another thing that could connect childhood trauma to homeless is a child that is traumatically distressed as a result, a youngster can unable to manage his emotion or her emotion, and then that could be connected to a terrible events, overwhelming them. These traumatic stresses or indicators, they can change behavioral, they can bring behavioral issues or withdrawals and regressive behaviors or emotional challenges or anxieties. And also, could it that be social challenges such as relationships or classroom disturbances? Is really impact will have in child's capacity to operate in daily life, therefore raising a vulnerability to homelessness. Well, on this research, I would question, I would like to propose questions like, what is the relationship between childhood trauma and the likelihood of becoming homeless later in life? How does childhood trauma influence mental health outcomes in homeless individuals? Can early intervention in cases of childhood trauma reduce the risk of homelessness in adulthood? So these are kind of questions that I would like to answer. Another thing is, of course, when we move into methods, quantitative would be the childhood trauma and the background of mental health. Would like to survey and interview different homeless individuals, and the qualitative would be to grasp a relationship between trauma and homelessness, kind of make a case study and interview with young homeless people. So the study is aiming information on risk factors for homelessness, including trauma exposure. The relevance of the study is basically social impact. Knowing the link between homeless and early trauma should guide initiative meant to stop or at least reduce homelessness. Um, and it also guide to mental health advocacy and early intervention strategies. Thank you.